Great. So after a few weeks off, I hope I remember how to do this. I did remember to turn on the recording. Well, let's see, somebody else is coming in here. Don, I'm going to make you co-host so you can keep an eye on the electronic door here.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, what we're going to be looking at today is a trip some people took across country in 1966. One of the things I'm going to just let you know is that this is not going to be the normal, fully restored sort of video I generally do. I finally got all the physical bugs out of the scanner, which was fun. But I found two different pieces of software: the one that they sell with the scanner, and then one that the camera manufacturer makes. And I've been playing back and forth between the benefits of one, the benefits of the other, because one has better white balance and the other does better this and that. So last night I got a reel of it, and I ran it through the program that usually does the color correction and everything. And when I came down this morning, there was a glitch. The program had failed. So what we're going to see is the raw camera scan that has not been color corrected and not been, edited for the camera at one point is going to go like that and that sort of thing. So we're all going to live vicariously here. So let me just get the film, the first one rolled up. So again, this is 1966. Let me get the first reel here. And they're going across country, and I'm not sure where this thing starts. Let me just cue it up here real quick, and I'll get this ready. Hang on here. Okay. This is a very short clip, and Don, with your expert knowledge of Route 66, I don't know if you're going to recognize this spot, but it's a really weird scene of like giant mutants out of a. Oh, hang on a second. I got to go back and optimize this for video. So stop share. See, at least I'm remembering how to do a few things. Okay, we don't have any sound. Optimize for video. Okay.
Let's see if I can spot it.
So there's giant chickens, giant cows, giant roosters, a giant trout comes along, a bear, a very weird clowny, couple clowny sort of guys look like weird Bob Big Boys, a chicken with a top hat.
Boy, I am not ringing any bells here. Like, give me a minute.
Yeah, so that's just the real quick clip there. They after that they end up going to the Grand Canyon, and then we'll get to the next one after that. But I mean, I saw that and I said that is one weird looking thing. So let me get to the next one.
By the way,
It's
Bill,
probably
that
a million.
fish was not a trout, it was a bass.
Oh, thank you, thank you. It's So then they went to Las Vegas, and I got a real kick out of watching these because I was going through the list. And I was going to make a list of all the casinos that are gone, and basically we could just say this movie. I mean, because we're downtown now. Obviously, this has all changed when they put the roof on the building, and that we stop at the swimming pool for a bit of enjoyment. Even here, I got a kick out of this because now you have to have a giant swimming pool with slides and all sorts of stuff. Back then in 1966, this was adequate for your stay at the famous Starview Motel. But we're going to see all sorts of casinos, and they even took their camera, and we can see the slot machines back in the days when you actually pulled the lever and the coins actually came out. I mean, this is really dated. Carol and I don't go to Vegas a lot, but it has lost its mystique for me when you don't have the money come crashing out.
Yeah.
It's
Not
a
that
whole
that
different
happens,
thing
that's
now.
not been enough for us. So again, lots of shots of downtown. These should look much better when I go through the restoring, but he's shooting through a window and somebody's inside playing the one-armed bandits. Red Buttons is the headliner there at the casino. This is, I believe, Fremont Street downtown. Anybody knows Vegas better than I do, please feel free anywhere.
That's definitely Fremont. But
What's that?
I said it's definitely Fremont.
Yeah, okay.
Starview actually ran until stayed up until just after 2000. It ran a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, just think of all those machines, ka-chink, 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 and
Yep.
the casinos back then to me had more life. There was the sound of the arm being pulled down, the bells ringing, the coins coming down. You go in there today, it's too antiseptic for me.
Yeah, it's dead. I agree with you.
Fremont Hotel. So they stayed a couple days because now we're back to another sort of night shot, all the neon. Oh, not much neon. I
And
wonder
all
how
this,
much of that's out in the graveyard now, the neon graveyard.
all this on Fremont is now under they put a roof over it. They call it the
Yep.
Fremont Experience.
Yep. It's become a big pedestrian mall.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to the Neon Graveyard. It is really worth the trip.
Oh
I
yeah.
have to do that. I've really wanted to. Now, if anybody wants to get married, we can take a stop and do that. There's several. They got several different wedding chapels. The best by far. Kept expecting to see an Elvis impersonator and realized back then Elvis was still around.
Yeah, that's true. He might get upset.
Yeah.
The Riviera.
Yeah, some of these scenes like this are dark. I'll probably just lose them, when I get into it. But going by the Stardust.
Yep, right across the street. All these casinos are gone now.
Yeah, as I said, you look at them and it's like, wow.
Yeah, the only one left is about to die. It's way down the end of the strip. I can't remember which one it is. The Tropicana. Tropicana is about to get torn down.
Yeah, it's closed
Yeah.
and being shredded now.
There are some spectacular videos of some of these places being demolished, but
Yeah.
the explosions are definitely enhanced with fireworks.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when they implode them and the whole thing just comes down right in its own footprint. There's definitely a town that has changed. There's the Tropicana.
Yeah.
So after that, they go back in the desert, and we don't need to see it because desert is desert is desert. But let me get the next bit here. So they leave there. We come out of the desert, and we're going to go visit Mrs. Knott's fried chicken restaurant. Actually, I don't think we see the restaurant, but we see Knott's Berry Farm.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. Given the money that Walt had to put into Disneyland, you have to really admire Walter Knott for building the Calico mine train ride here. I mean that was a monumental expansion of Knott's Berry Farm. The figures inside were absolutely horrific. Now they've upgraded them in recent years, but I remember thinking as we went first through it, they looked like, I mean, the facial characteristics were just terrible, but they look much more realistic now. It really adds to the ride. And a bunch of these things are still there. Kendall probably knows. I think we'll see one of the Indians there. She probably knows who some of these people are.
The Indian at the time, it was Red Feather. And he and I think a couple of others were the only ones there. And he would go around and you could wear one of his headdresses. And he evidently had a great sense of humor. And he made sure that the picture was okay and you could have your picture taken with him. And then the ones in the 90 actually performed for you. But
Mhm.
he didn't do that. He just you just came around and you had his picture taken.
Yeah, he's in one of the movies I was looking at this past week. These figures are still there. There's the two grizzled miners, and then there's another one with two dance hall girls. There he is.
There he is. That's Red Feather. He
Oh,
was
okay.
real nice, very approachable. And that was the sum total of what he did. And they actually had donkeys. They don't have that anymore.
No, I remember this guy, the grizzled miner, and he'd walk around with his donkey, and you'd have to hope it didn't bite you.
I don't think there was much of that. If they were biters, they'd have a muzzle on them.
Hmm.
That one seems pretty friendly.
Yeah,
And that's no longer there. I don't know where that went.
I think it was
Inside
put
the
into
park.
storage and sold.
You may be right. And they got rid of those trolley cars.
Yeah.
By 1969, for reasons we don't understand, he just decided, I'm done with those, get rid of them. And he took them all away and tore up the track. So now you never know it was there. Oh, there's the mule ride. I'm sorry they got rid of that.
Almost all this is gone now.
Oh, they don't have seals. No seals.
Yeah.
That's really old. They used to have dolphins there in the 90s, but I saw the last dolphin show and they got rid of that. So.
Thinking, just give the damn thing his fish.
Wanted him to jump.
I was gonna say that seal is barking for food.
Yeah.
Oh, they have so much food. Yeah, that must have been a real novelty. You guys have really spent a lot of time with the seals.
Okay, this is gonna
now we're at Disneyland.
Yeah, so I have another clip of Disneyland, so let me just go there. So again, I break them into sections when I can, make it easier for editing. It's easier to edit the 6 1 gigabyte files and 1 6 gigabyte file.
I have well, actually my husband had some relatives. They came out to California and they went to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, and Marineland all in the same day.
Oh wow.
That was in the 50s. Of course, Knott's Berry Farm was free then.
Right.
And Disneyland was hardly anything. But I can't imagine they saw anything. Really.
And even back then, half the time would be spent on the road.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Knott's and Disneyland aren't that far
Yeah,
apart.
they're very close.
So you
But
could
Greenland
probably take
wasn't.
20 minutes and get back and forth to them. But Marineland was out there in Palos Verdes, so that'd be a
Yep,
drive.
we'll be going there after this.
Okay.
So these people covered a lot of ground.
This isn't your home movies, right?
Nope, somebody else, 1966.
God.
They're two 300-foot reels of their trips. So after this, we get to go to Marineland, and we get to you'll see more. We get to go Chinatown and Universal Studios. They hit them all.
Hopefully, they didn't do it all in one day.
No. Yeah, you joke that, we had a time machine, you'd go back to the World's Fair and you think about, I want to see this, I want to see it. You'd have to be running through there like a marathon runner. Well, that's the sort of thing that's gone now. I mean, this tilting rock out on the island because, oh no, you may pinch your fingers under it, so it's got to come out. Oh, this will upset people, so that's got to come out. there's the guy, the settler lying there. So, you know, they catch all sorts of things that are long, long gone. But I kept looking, thinking how much gas they must have gone through in a day on that house. But gas was cheap back then.
Now they can't do it because of the new California regulations. That's why Arribas Brothers glass blowing is no longer there or in California.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I found it out that I was down at Disneyland Wednesday and went into the shop because we have a piece that we were going to see if we could get repaired. And she said, no, they can't do the glass blowing here anymore because of California state laws. Like that little flame for blowing glass is going to make a difference in our environment. I'm sorry.
That's ridiculous. This is
Seeing that-
all much snazzier when I put it through the color correction.
Seeing that picture of the Matterhorn there, you had mentioned in an earlier talk a few weeks ago that you liked the old painting of the Matterhorn, and I hadn't seen it in a long time. When we got there on Wednesday, I was looking, I was like, yeah, where'd all the snow go? Is this because of global warming?
Yeah,
It's more rock than snow now.
it is. Well, you don't often see Thumper out in the park. And a guy on a unicycle, isn't that crazy? I don't think I've ever seen a picture or a movie of the guy in the unicycle before. So Small World is brand new. It's just opened. To me, they still look better in gray.
Well, I don't know. They kind of made a nod to the Beatles when they painted them yellow.
Yeah. This is underwater. Again, I will lose some of this footage when I go into the editing.
The subs before they were yellow.
Yeah. And we've gone from the TWA moon rocket to the Douglas moon rocket. California Adventure.
Yeah.
Disneyland Hotel. You can see some of the shops and stuff that were there. United Airlines, Western Airlines. That was I think they call it the travel port.
Walt Disney was still alive.
Yeah, back at this point he was.
Yeah, he didn't die until December 15th.
So it's getting near the end of the day. The sun's going down, but we go by the motorboat cruise, Utopia.
Yeah, Bill, did you say this is your film or this is
No.
another film you?
Just the film I acquired. Now, this was along Pacific Coast Highway. Those smokestacks down there, places this down near Seal Beach, California. So all sorts of oil wells. These are all gone. None of them along the ocean anymore. We
But
still
you have not went through your processor. Is that right?
No, that's right. I've not cleaned it up yet. And then they go visit
Oh,
somebody
I
in
was
their
gonna
house.
say, 'cause if you could add contrast to it and really brighten the thing up.
Oh yeah, no, I've got it running on. Okay, so we'll go to Marineland next. I don't know if I kept it all in this. Marineland breaks into two parts. One on this reel and the other in a second. Yeah, the program. If I look behind me at my laptop, it's running now to do the color correction and all that. The same one that failed last night should get through it today. So Marineland again, Rancho Palos Verdes, and it was a really neat spot. I liked going out there and taking people from out of town. Particularly it was a hot day here in the valley. You get out there, you had the sea breeze and everything. So they had several large arenas like here where you could watch the killer whale shows, dolphin shows, that sort of thing. And then they had a beluga whale. You could come and see that. They had an underwater viewing port, and he'd come up to the glass window, and he was as interested, I think, in looking at you as you were at him or her. I don't know which one it was.
I think he's trying to get him to do something.
Trying to get him to sing, I think. They're all squealing or whatever. It looks like
Yeah.
he's conducting the band.
Just throw the fish. Just throw the fish.
Yeah.
Just give me the fish, buddy.
Now he's telling it to turn around,
Turn
go
around.
in circles, you'll get your fish then.
Hmm.
Yeah, yesterday I took a reel that I had done on the original version of the scanner, and then I did it again on the new one, and I'm very happy with the difference. It just takes, the problem is this thing's shooting in 4K, so the files are gigantic and it takes a long time to process them. But you go to bed, you let it run, and 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, it's okay in the morning. Just last night it decided was going to be an exception. No, I obviously went to Marineland. Brock, I assume you were there many times. You went there for the filming, the test scenes. Were you there as a tourist too?
Maybe he left.
He
Nice.
might have, or he might be.
I was muted there. I forgot. I was
Yeah.
started to cough and I didn't want to cough into everybody's ear. Yeah, I've been there many times as a kid because whenever we had relatives come into town, they would want to go see Marineland, and because it was, the big thing. It was Disneyland, of course, but this was closer to where we lived than Disneyland was. So this was one that was more easy to get to.
Yeah, like I said, it was fun. I enjoyed going out there. You can see the oceans right there.
Well, it was a very pretty location too. It was just very, a lot of planting around it. You just felt like you were kind of in this nice, almost tropical setting in a sense. It wasn't really tropical, but you had that feel to it.
Did you go out there, Cody?
I've been there. I went there a couple of times. Interestingly enough, I lived near there, and I didn't really go there very much. I did go out to Disneyland a lot, even though it was a commute. So,
Well, it's like in New York. People that live in New York don't go to the Empire State Building. It's always there. Do it the next time.
yeah. Well, I think they're going to keep the Empire State Building. It was a real shocker when they closed that and the way they did it. People were extremely upset. I mean, it was awful.
Yeah, it's just the Marineland's there one day, and the next day it's gone.
Yeah, they came out and said, "You're fired, go home," and then they wrecked the place to get the whales.
Yeah.
Awful.
Does anyone know, did it just run out of money?
No, it was bought by Hardcore Brace. It was a book
Oh yeah, that was
book
a horrible
publishing company, and the man that ran it decided that I guess he was also with SeaWorld, and he decided he wanted all those fish, and he closed the place down, and then in the middle of the night they came in and wrecked it to get those whales out of there.
Wow.
And it sat like that for years. I mean, what were they going to do?
Well, they wanted to develop it for real estate, but it's in a terrible, terrible spot. I mean, it's a pretty spot. but the ground is sort of still seismically active. If you get a chance, go look up Portuguese Bend, and they're having all sorts of emergency things going on right now because houses are slipping and going to the ocean. So it's a great location, but not if it falls into the ocean.
Well, at this where this Marineland was, it wasn't doing that. But now they've got a real fancy hotel with a very fancy restaurant where Marineland used to be.
Yeah, the guy who ran Harcourt Freight, that they had an office here in Austin. I knew people who worked for that company, and it was, let's just say that they weren't fond of it.
I don't even know if they're still in business.
I think they went under eventually.
Yeah.
I ended up hiring a few of their employees at the company I worked for.
Oh, okay.
Harcourt Brace Jovanovich.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was William Jovanovich was the guy that owned the competing thing, and Harcourt Brace was called Harcourt Brace Jovanovich for a while.
I guess
Yeah,
Jovanovich was the one that did all this. I'm not
He's the
sure.
one he's the scurrilous knave.
Yeah, they had a building right off the I-4 in Orlando because of SeaWorld down there, and you used to go by and see the HBJ on the side of the building all the time. Think you're the bastards that took out Marineland.
Yeah, it didn't make, yeah. And people at Palos Verdes were just irate. They were so upset. Yeah, the woman that trained the dolphins and the whales, she was fired, and they told him not to say anything, but she was interviewed. She talked about it anyway. It was awful. I mean,
Yeah, a lot of them were told, "Oh, you have to work overtime tonight for a special project," and here's the guy that's going to take the dolphin you've cared for the last 10 years, help him put him on the plane, and by the way, you're fired.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she was emotionally attached to these animals. So I'm sure it was doubly hard for her.
Oh, it had to be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took them all to Ohio.
What?
That's where the SeaWorld was that they took them to, is SeaWorld in Ohio.
Well, they took the whales to San Diego down there, SeaWorld down there. They wanted those whales. I can't, Bubbles or whatever his name was.
Yeah, they renamed them Corky and
I'm
Orky.
sure they're long gone, but
Yeah.
at the moment they wanted those whales.
Yeah, nobody has whales anymore.
No, well, they have them, I think, but they don't train them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that documentary Blackfish.
Yeah, it sure took care of it.
Yeah, it just
Some of the smaller pools in that. Yeah, when we did Free Willy, they had the whale, but then they wanted to do Free Willy too, and they were worried about doing it. What if the whale died or anything? So we got into the CGI business real early, and Free Willy 2 is very much computerized. We did a test film, just getting to the next reel. We did a test film showing, the what you could do. That we had the Free Willy jumping in the Encino Reservoir and jumping up and down and up and down and up and down. And people, we said, okay, now we can make it look like it's at night. We can do this. We can do all sorts of things. So it was great fun to show you what we could do with CGI and convince the powers that be. We're back to Marineland. This is the next reel. Hard hat diver in a tank and a bunch of, again, this is real dark here. Manta rays and other things going by. But just a few feet of him, and then we go back outside.
Actually, Marineland had a place where anybody could go and try their luck with the fish, with the scuba diving. And a friend of ours went, he couldn't even swim. And he went out there and I guess he saw fish. I don't know. But anybody could do it.
wow.
I'm not sure how that worked out. They didn't lose anybody, so
Well,
it was really shallow.
we were sitting there the other night and Beverly Hillbillies came on TV. Yeah, too busy to change the channel, but uh, uh, Jethro decides he wants to join one of the military services, so he wants to become a Marine. So they drive out to Marineland, and they have a whole scene where they drive right into the park, and they give him the suit with the belt and the weights and everything, and they give him a bucket of fish, and he thinks that he has to eat the fish, so he eats the whole bucket of raw fish. I mean, totally, absolutely silly 1960s nonsense. Here's the sort of grounds Brock was mentioning. You know, it was very, very pretty. The entrance sign.
They still have that, a whale.
Yeah,
Did they put it up? They
it's
might
a
have put it up. I
story.
never go
Yeah.
over there.
So lots more oil wells. If you drove along the coast in the 60s, the coast was just lined with oil wells.
You got me laughing at Jethro eating the fish.
Classic stuff, you know? That was an oil drilling rig as opposed to an oil pumping rig. We actually have oil rigs like those pumpers that are less than a mile from my house up in the hills right behind me. And so there's still a little oil production. If you go out towards the Golden Oak Ranch, you know, Disney's property, there's quite a few oil wells out that way. We were out that way last week, and still surprising how many. So now we've hopped down to San Diego. We're going to come back to LA, but we're going to go see some of the residents, denizens of San Diego first. I haven't been to San Diego Zoo in years. Yeah, the traffic's just gotten so bad. It used to be, okay, when I go to someplace like San Diego, you know, leave the house at 7 in the morning, down there by 9, you know, have a day, finish up, eat dinner, you back home, you know. Today, if I left my house at, you know, 7 o'clock to go to San Diego, I don't know when I'd get there.
Yeah, it'd be most part of the day to drive there. But it is worth it. That zoo is great.
Yeah, for us, going down to San Diego isn't bad. It's coming back unless you stay there till the night. If you come back in anytime after 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it takes forever to get back to our place because of all the people that work in San Diego and then live in our area here. It just becomes a parking lot practically.
Well, we noticed when we drove to Anaheim last week, we left here, I think something like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. It took us an hour and a half or something to get down there. When we were driving back, it took an extra hour to get home, so it was 2.5 hours to get back. But the 5 going south was solid from about Dodger Stadium to Anaheim. I mean, I
Wow.
cannot imagine how long I mean, we're talking solid. I cannot imagine how long. There's probably people that are just getting to Disneyland now. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Were you on the 5?
Yeah, we took a lot of times I'll take the 210 to the 57 or whatever, but we took the 5 because before I went, I looked at Sig Alert and they were doing construction on one way, so I went the other way.
Oh, I see.
Well,
You know, I
oh,
Go ahead.
you gonna say the luncheon we were at a couple of weeks ago, Bill?
Yeah.
Remember when I left you in the parking lot? It took me 3 hours to get home. Still
Oh
don't know
my
why.
God.
Never saw an accident anywhere, but from Glendale all the way to the 57, it was solid traffic, barely moving.
Was that a Saturday?
No, it was a Wednesday at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I
you
used
wouldn't expect anything then.
No.
I used to live in San Diego, and one time we went to the zoo, and there was a llama there giving birth. And the people that were running the zoo had no idea that was going to happen.
Oh, wow.
So I stood there and watched. And so did the people from the zoo.
Rock, what's the time to leave San Diego? I'm actually staying in Temecula in a couple of weeks. and my friends are going to bring me down to San Diego and come back.
Well, you either need to leave probably before about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or wait till, maybe after 6 or 7 o'clock at night, then it opens up fine again. But you just have that one period. And part of it is they're doing a bunch of freeway construction down near Temecula here, and that just jams up. It's where the 215 splits off at the 15, and that just backs up for miles because of that. It's all narrowed down while they're doing the work and everything else. It's pretty bad. Plus, like I say, so many people that work in San Diego live in the Temecula Murrieta area that once you get past that, it opens up again. But if you're staying in our area, then
I am. Dead center.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get all the traffic and none of the fun afterwards.
And maybe we can go over and visit Brock.
Yeah. A lot less traffic.
Heck, I was just in San Diego 2 weeks ago. But mostly sitting at the airport waiting.
This will be my first time to San Diego or Central California, and I missed the window when the weather would be reasonable. I think I'm going to be out there the 6th through the 15th.
It should still be pretty good. Like today here at my place, I think it's supposed to be about 74. It's not too bad. You were mentioning about seeing the llama give birth. We, outside our window, we have a glass pane next to our front door, and when we look out, there's 2 baby hummingbirds in a nest. Every year, the hummingbirds come back and build a nest in the same little tree or whatever. And it's really fascinating to watch how they grow. I mean, the mother comes in, builds the nest, lays an egg, lays another egg, sits there, finally the eggs hatch, and now the birds are 2 days ago, I guess, opening their eyes and looking around, and she's still coming back. But she keeps setting off my Ring doorbell. She flies in and out. So I'll sit here and I find out to say silence it, because it will go off and I'll look at the door and there's nobody there. But it is kind of fascinating to watch the whole thing. And last year the birds didn't make it, so for whatever reason, something knocked down the nest. But they're doing real well, and I feel like I'm part of a Disney True Life adventure looking at my window. And they grow so fast. I mean, the eggs hatch and there's 2 little things lying in there, and now they're so big that they're crowding each other in the nest. And the mother came back and enlarged the nest, which I didn't know they did that. She put an extra, layer of stuff on top to keep them in, and it's just fascinating to watch and see them coming along.
I think some birds are smarter than others when it comes to that sort of stuff. Robins are really stupid, and they'll lay a clutch of 3 to 5 eggs in a nest that's fine for those eggs, but when the chicks, start growing, because they get pretty big pretty fast, suddenly they don't fit in the nest anymore, and they end up on the ground, and creatures get them, or they are trying to feed them in trees. They don't know how to increase the size of the nest.
Yeah. Well, we've skipped down now to San Juan Capistrano. So for any Zorro fans, that was where they did the Ghost of the Mission. This is, of course, this famous Swallows of Capistrano, the mission of that name. So they're going to work their way back up to LA after this.
They did this in all one trip? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're coming from some place like Chicago or something, you're going to make the most of it.
I guess. Wow, this is
Very short attention span, but this cameraman.
Hmm.
I think we've seen very quickly. This one's longer.
Well, it's like when we all go to visit Don at his new house in Vermont, we're gonna be taking in all the Vermont tourism, right?
Hey, I live only 45 minutes, or will live only 45 minutes from the Enterprise in Ticonderoga. So
Really?
yeah. So
Oh, wow.
see that? You come stay at our place, and we'll drive you down to Ticonderoga, and you can tour the Enterprise.
Will you be there by about July 18th?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, we're going to be upstate New York. I don't know if we'll make it up to Ticonderoga, but we're going to be in New York in July.
Yeah, well, if you're in the neighborhood, come out. We're in Ferrisburg. We'll be in Ferrisburg, Vermont.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the background of my picture, that's the view out of the front window of our house.
Yeah, we're going to talk at they're having an event for the 60th anniversary of the fair. I think it's July 15th, 16th, something like that. But then we're going to take a week to just drive upstate New York. I just bought a book on waterfalls of New York, and I'm starting to plot out, where to go and what to see.
If there's still tickets, I might try to drive down and see that event actually, or take the train.
Yeah, come on down. It's only $15, and it should be a fun event.
Bill, you'll see several of our friends from New Jersey and New York there who have already made plans and have on their calendars all the events of the Queen's Theater. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the Queen's Theater, right?
Yeah,
it's interesting. The
and
Queen's
are
Museum,
looking very forward to York.
the Queen's
Pardon?
Museum is showing no interest in the fair. And they said, oh, they're going to have an interpret of this by teenage artists doing their stuff about their impressions of the fair.
Oh, goody.
Okay. But the woman that runs the Queen's Theater is a real World's Fair enthusiast, and they're trying to they have about 12 different events all throughout the summer for, I've sent them a bunch of movies that they're going to screen there. They have, they for the 50th anniversary of the fair, they commissioned 3 plays based on the fair, and they were very well received, and now they're restaging them this summer, that sort of stuff. So the theater is really gung ho. Okay, so now we've jumped up to Universal, the Glamour Tram. We have some mariachis there. Now we're on the back lot.
Would have loved to have seen this in its heyday. I understand the tour is very different now.
Oh,
yeah, it really is. That section there, we would always tell people you're at Wall Street because it's a street full of walls. When I worked at Universal, we had such a great time. You could just wander around the back lot, see, just go anywhere you wanted. It was great. It is fun when you see these movies trying to place where some of these things were used, or scenes that you can relate to. But again, Wall Street. Back at this point in time, they would occasionally, still be filming out there, and the tram would stop, and some of the actors would come over and pose like right there. You can see how close you can get to some of the filming. And I went out there one day with David Hasselhoff when he was doing stunt driving training for Knight Rider, and it was really funny because he scared the crap out of me. A really super nice guy, but he's screeching the car all over the place. This was called Prop Plaza. This was midway between sections of the tour. So he got out of the car to have everybody sign autographs, and he was telling everybody, "Oh no, there's PT-73 from McHale's Navy." But he's saying, "Oh, you got to get this guy's autograph." So everybody's giving me the autograph books to sign, So a lot of people said, "Oh, wow, Kirk Douglas looks so different in person." Yeah, Prop Plaza, it's all abandoned now. It's still sitting there, but none of this stuff occurs because this was the days before the theme park that they built. And you could climb up and get on a P-51 Mustang, which is only worth about $1.5 million. This was one of the several boats used for McHale's Navy that was out on the lagoon in the back. So they had a ocean running one that was a real one, and then this was a mock-up that was used for the the scenes of it would pull up to the dock and Captain Binghamton would yell at them and that sort of stuff. And then they had another one on a sound stage just for the insert shots of them, steering it.
This looks more interesting than their theme park.
Yep, there's the Back to the Future courthouse.
Oh, well, there's Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. They had several motels out there, a Midwestern one and then a more modern one. I think one of there was some of the shows, something called Bristol Court or something, was all shot at those motels. It was sort of like the Love Boat in a motel. All the people would be moving in, that sort of stuff, with their story of the week.
That statue of Abraham Lincoln was used in Animal House, if you remember.
Was it the same one? That's interesting. Makes sense. It's a Universal movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of looks like it. In fact, as soon as you hit it, that's immediately reminded me of that scene in Animal House.
The Enterprise, not the Starship, but when we were in Palm Springs recently, we were there with Mike McGreevy, who was one of the co-stars of it, and talked about how he was on the Enterprise years before William Shatner was. Yeah, the tour guys used to say stuff about, notice these buildings are all 7/8 scale. That's so people like John Wayne would look that much bigger and imposing to go in. And I was there one day and they said, actually, John Wayne was really small and those horses he rode were all Shetland ponies. And people, oh, really? Wow. Just like my gopher guy, they believed it. There's the lower lot, golf course. Little miniature destroyer shooting at a miniature submarine. Stunt show.
You mean they would fib about John Wayne's height?
What's that?
I said, you mean they would fib about John Wayne's height
Yeah,
not being tall?
they would joke about it, that he wasn't the big guy that it's really funny. The dog just came on the scene there and my dog on my lap is sitting there looking at it growling. I didn't think she'd recognize another dog. The guy, by the way, falling off the balcony, I was having post-traumatic stress there watching the guy fall.
They used to do that at Knott's Berry Farm. Guy would fall from the roof of some building. And one of the guys did that and he missed the mattress and hit his head on the pavement.
Ooh.
And he was out of it and in a coma for over 10 years before he died.
Oh, wow.
It was awful. And they don't do that anymore. They don't have guys get up there and fall off a building. That was
I
it.
can't understand why. Watch out, Carol. He's coming to get you. Carol does not like the Frankenstein at the park. Giant oversized telephones and spools of thread and stuff. Warner Brothers is right back there in the background. You can just see the Warner Brothers sound stages across the golf course.
I think somewhere back there Disney was too.
Yeah, I don't think you can really, maybe you could see it. I'll have to look at it more. This was a scene where you could get fake snow and it would come, down and throw it at people and that sort of stuff.
Storm whipping up here.
Tower from the Warlord. I was still there when I first went to Universal. I haven't been to Universal forever. It's one of those things where you work there, you just don't need to go. But they just had an accident this past week where one of the trams ran loose and hurt some people. So interesting. Now we're gonna go to the Hollywood Bowl. If you're ever out in LA, the Hollywood Bowl is open during the week when they're not performing, and you can go out there sometimes and catch them as they're rehearsing and hear some nice music and just walk in for free. But it's also just kind of neat to walk in, walk up and down the aisles and soak up the atmosphere.
They've rebuilt the bowl several times, haven't they?
Oh yeah. I think they're in about the 7th or 8th rendition of the band shell. Back in that point in time, but now we're at CBS Studio City. There used to be a water feature in front of it, basically separating the stage from the audience with a pond. Well, then they realized we could fill in the pond and sell some really expensive seats up front. So yeah, they've changed it over time. Here's for you, Carolyn. We've now gone to Griffith Park up at the observatory. Before people dug a giant hole, right?
Well, and also looks like the paint isn't quite so bad as it was before they started the renovation. It was
Right.
It was pretty bad.
Peeking in the houses down below.
Yeah, there's nothing exciting in Las Vegas, right?
What's that?
There's nothing exciting to look at in Las Vegas, is there?
And now we're going to go to Chinatown. It's interesting, we take the kids down to Chinatown, particularly our son loves Asian food. And some of these places haven't changed at all. Like they have these fountains out there that you're supposed to throw pennies on and try to get on this ledge for good luck and on this one for this and that. And I think I threw enough money in these fountains over the years to pay for a college education. But they're still down there. Like everything else, it's not as vibrant or anything as it used to be. And the shops still sell, they probably back then sold junk. They sell a lot of junk now. But it's kind of a neat spot to visit. It's not very far from downtown LA at all. Phone booths shaped like little pagodas.
Back when there were phone booths.
Yes, that's true, right? Gonna date myself again there. The pastry shop is still there and it's still very good. There's the phone booths. I wonder where they ended up.
That's why we don't see Superman anymore.
Yeah, that's why he's hiding. And that's the end of it because we go back to the desert. So, okay, but that's somebody's trip cross country out there. Stopping at Dupar's for pancakes. One of my favorite things when I'm out there. God, do we still have Dupar's?
Yeah, apparently so. They were closed I think they were shut down during pandemic, but the last time I was out there, we stopped.
Yeah, let me just see what the no farmers market on this particular thing. So Let me just go back through the things here in the chat.
What I found interesting, Don kind of hinted at it too. This guy's attention span, that what he took pictures of, he was actually using a movie camera more like a single shot camera. Oh, let's
Yeah.
take a picture of that flower. Now look at take a picture of the stairs. Now we'll take a picture of that flower. So it's like, 2 seconds on the reel, maybe 3 seconds on the reel. It's like, why are you taking a movie of that?
Well, he
Yeah,
probably figured someday there'd be Adobe Photoshopping and he could just single out each frame, right?
I
Yeah,
don't think he thought that far ahead.
I'm just reading through here. Yeah, if anybody figures out who the giant chicken place was, please let me know. So I guess I will be at the Queen's.
Yeah,
Gate
I
14th.
posted a link to Steve Dashu's outfit that did the fiberglass muffler man, and it says that he established it in 1960 and had an employee drive along Route 66 with big fiberglass animals to drum up business. So that could be it.
Yeah, it could be. I'll just see it here. Yeah, I see the muffler man there, the Gemini giant, right? Which he just got bought and moved to a new location. So he's got another lease on life. So it looks like I will be in New York on July 14th. Well, I was planning on being there the 15th. I'm glad I read that. That would have been amazing. No, we're going to come back the day before, do the talk, and then go visit my brother in Long Island. Then we're heading up to the Catskills and up to another brother in Ithaca. And we're just looking forward to getting away from concrete and stucco and being out there driving around. So we had a really nice drive the last time. So looking forward to it. But yeah, it's interesting, you see some of these videos, these films that people did, and they're really well done with a tripod and everything. And others, like I said, you hop around, you almost, I've talked in some of these talks, you need to get out your, motion sickness stuff beforehand. But still, even though it's, kind of chaotic shots, it's still, kind of fun to see places that are gone and things that you can't do anymore. So it's, like I said, I'm sorry that I didn't get them all restored, or I didn't have I had the week all planned, that it was going to be really good. I had a special detail I was doing on Thursday, and I could come home and finish this, and then, work on a Thursday. Well, even Wednesday night, I was planning on doing some of this. Instead, Wednesday night, I was holding the ice pack. So
It was I think it was a great video. It was packed full of, so much fun stuff.
Yeah, it's just, things that you don't, like I said, the oil wells, I mean, it's hard to imagine. There's still some around, like I mentioned, right up near my house, we have a couple, but LA was just full of oil wells. And every now and then, things will happen where one of them will ignite. Hang on 1 second, somebody's at the door. Oh, my son's getting it. It's probably somebody actually rang the doorbell, so it wasn't the hummingbirds going by this time.
I gotta go, Bill. It's great to see you.
Good to see you, Ken Cody. It's great to see you last weekend.
Oh, I had a wonderful time. That was great. Thank you. Yes.
When this talk I was giving was outdoors, and it's about the World's Fair, and it was very authentic, World's Fair authentic, because it's right near the airport, and I had to stop as the planes flew overhead, so it's just like being at Shea Stadium as the planes go over your head. So
I'll see you. Take care.
see you. Take care. Thanks for coming by.
So did you get your house you bid on?
Yeah, we landed the bid. We closed
Wow.
on the 21st of May.
All right, congratulations.
Thanks.
And
Yeah,
then
go ahead.
I never heard why you were moving to Vermont.
There is a host of reasons. I grew up there, so
Cool.
I've lived in Texas for 40 years. One of the main things is it's the town I live in, Round Rock. When I moved here, it was 8,000 people. It's over 300,000 now. It's just grown so much in this area, and it's getting hotter and hotter here. I could give you a list, but I just wanted to Vermont has not changed all that much at all, and so it's going to be nice to get back out in the country where things are a little bit slower paced and a lot prettier.
We just had another close friend move there. They're about a half hour out of Burlington.
No, that's the property you're looking at there. Like I said, that's my front yard.
Oh,
It's Ferrisburg, Vermont, and that's an
yeah.
area where they don't let much growth happen, but people are trying to buy lots. There are a lot of celebrities buying out there. You have to compete with them when you're bidding on anything.
Yeah, we used to go to Vermont quite a bit when we lived in Massachusetts. It was only a couple hours and we could go there and visit the little towns and stuff. It was kind of our vacation spot.
Yep.
You know,
It's
I
really
lived
pretty
in
up there.
I lived in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, and we would drive up every fall up into Vermont, and right when it was apple cider season, and
Mhm.
it was just lovely. We'd go and stop on the side of the road, get a big chunk of cheddar cheese, apple pie, apple cider. It was really really pretty. And then winter would come.
So
It's pretty in winter too. You just have to dress a bit warmer.
is it 84 that's the main highway that goes up that splits
89.
between Vermont or 80? It's the main freeway. Well, right at the very first rest stop, once you get through out of when you're going north but into Vermont, there's
Yeah.
they put up a farmer's market and cider and all this stuff. And the last time we were there, we actually happened to hit that. It was really, really nice. They were having a bake sale, and it was just like, welcome to Vermont, eat all this stuff. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, that's the Vermont Welcome Center down there. We stopped there.
Yeah.
We flew in out of Boston because it was too expensive to fly to Burlington.
Oh yeah.
So we made the 3-hour drive through to New Hampshire and up 89 into Vermont. And so
Oh, we used to go out Route 2, but yeah.
oh yeah, two as well. Route 2, Route 7, and 89. Those are your three ways of getting
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we lived in Groton, so we would just run over to Route 2 and go out west from there.
Mm-hmm. You lived in Groton, or you were
Massachusetts,
Oh, I
yeah.
was gonna say there's a Groton, Vermont too.
Well, there's one in Vermont and there's one in
Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah.
Yeah, I worked at the one in Connecticut.
Yeah,
But,
no,
yeah,
this one was up near the border of New Hampshire.
We were Carol and I were back there a number of years ago. We were driving between Vermont and New Hampshire, and I don't know what road it was. Very twisty, windy thing, and it had a sign something about road opens on whatever date or closes on whatever date. Carol was saying how beautiful this hole was, and we were stopping at there's some president's birthplace up there. We're visiting everything, and she said, "Why would they close the road on between these particular dates? Because they can't get a snowplow on those roads."
Yeah, there's sections of Route 2 that are like that before you get to Williamstown. Because I commuted out to Williamstown to teach at Williams College for a month, and there were some places where they'd close the road and you'd have to go around because they couldn't plow it.
Yeah, but oh no, knowing that you're there, Don, and it's going to be so close to the Enterprise.
Yep.
That kind of gives me an idea too.
Yeah.
Come on, we got a guest
volunteered.
room handy and ready to go.
Why don't we all go up there July 18th and go see Don?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. We don't get many visitors down here in Texas, but as soon as I started saying, okay, we are moving to Vermont, the number of people who wanted to visit us suddenly just went way up.
Funny how that worked.
Yeah. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. So.
Pretty area. Like I said, we had upstate New York is just gorgeous, and Carol and I were back there last year, and we did 1,000-mile drive in a giant circle. And if it wasn't for winters, like the Thousand Islands, Carol and I have been there, and I think you'd safely say you enjoy that area up there, Carol.
Yes, I do. We've been there a couple times. And last year when we were up in New York, it rained a couple of days that we were there.
Yeah. It was nice. And the roads aren't filled with potholes, and the traffic. I mean, you drive around and, oh my God, there's a car. It's way up there.
Actually, when we moved out there, I had never seen the signs that said frost heaves. In so many places, and then I finally figured out what that was. We have a few here, but there are a lot more out there.
Well, I hope your whole move goes well, Don, and seeing what you've gone through with hailstorms and all the rest of it in Texas. I think you're getting out before the place gets ripped off the face of the earth.
Yeah, they are saying it's going to get worse rather than better weather-wise down here. So.
Our other friends, that live in Austin, they travel a lot. but they keep saying when they come home, they never know what they're going to come home to because, like you said, the storms and everything are getting much, much more severe.
Mhm. Yeah, it's the insurance rates are going way up because of it. So, ours went up, I forget, it was easily 50%. That's and they're talking about raising them again next year. So
We're having out here, a lot of the insurance companies are just canceling people
Mhm.
because of fire dangers and everything else. So it gets scary. So yeah, if you see us moving down the road from you, you'll know why.
Hey, yep, yeah. We got 12 acres on top of our little hill. So let us know and you can build a little house there on the edge of the lawn.
How about a little airport?
Well, there's actually the Ferrisburg Airport. There is one is not very far away. So I don't know how good it is to land there during the winter. I don't know if they plow it.
Much as I like Vermont when we were there, I think if we move anywhere, it'll be straight up the coast towards Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's pretty up there too.
Well, our daughter lives up in Seattle now, so I mean, to move upstate upstate New York is completely across country from her.
Yep, but it is a gorgeous place. So
Yeah, it is. And I've never been in a winter like Vermont has winters, so I didn't know, what it would be like. I think snow's pretty, but I've never had to shovel it.
well, I don't plan on shoveling it. Our driveway is 500 feet, so I'm not shoveling that.
Hopefully you've already bought
No,
your
you hire a
snowblower.
guy for that.
So yeah, we're gonna hire somebody for sure.
Yeah, that's what we do here.
Well, you probably want a
I've-
snowblower too.
Yeah.
Go buy
We
them
have a
now
co-
when they're
yeah.
on sale. So
Actually, the
Yeah,
people around
too.
the house are probably going to commute the snowblower to us. I have talked to them about that.
Actually, what you do is you wait until the spring when all the people that can't stand it anymore move out, and you go buy them at the yard sales.
Yeah,
Ours came with the house, so
I think ours will too.
for the folks that missed the beginning of it, Carolyn got another foot of snow today.
still getting it.
Great. Well, I hope folks enjoyed our cross-country trip, and we didn't get to stop at any Stuckies or any of the roadside inns or anything, but like I said, looking at Vegas, you're never going to see it looking like that again. So I will be working on restoring it and the color. The computer does such an amazing job of the color correction and fixing it. And when I cut out all the whip pans and everything, it'll probably run about 6 minutes instead of 40, but it'll still be fun.
It was a lot of fun. Hey,
So-
before you go, Bill, can
Yeah.
I ask Ken a question here? Yeah, Ken, I know you're still at the state fair in the background there. What did you think of the fairgrounds? You there? I see you.
Ken vanished. He transported.
We can't hear him.
If you're trying to talk, Ken, you're muted.
Okay, I'm trying a different setting. Is that working?
There
Yes.
you are.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't muted. It was something on the internal setting for Zoom. Anyways, Fair Park was wonderful. It was
Isn't that amazing.
I knew a little bit I knew it was out there and had something to do with the previous fair, but I didn't know the details at all before going. And it's right, it turns out the Cotton Bowl, where we had the Eclipse exhibit that we were running, is right in the middle of it, as you know. So the first day I got out and did the little area around the lagoon, a lot of nice areas, but then we found the Esplanade, which is the spot where it has all of the big buildings like you see on my screen here, and just full of wonderful sculptures and massive buildings. And the thing that's really weird about it is like nobody visiting. It's
Yeah.
like, how do they afford to keep this going? And I went in, there was a guy, there's one building that was built for the ages, everything else, it's a miracle that it survived, or they've done a lot of maintenance on it. But the State Hall building actually had a live person in it, because it was the main building. I said, how come it's so unbusy? The Eclipse weekend and everything, you'd expect a lot of people. He said, oh, this is busy. And it was like, maybe 20 or 30 people. So somehow they've got the inspiration, or the state or somebody is keeping it up. And they don't even charge you, with the few visitors they get. But it was gorgeous. It was, to me, it gave me a feel for what it might have been to do to the 39 New York Fair, because the Art Deco has a lot in common there, and it was kind of a neat feeling to be walking back in time. It was an interesting visit because there was the eclipse, which was the big thing, but two bits of history, the Fair Park and then walking into Dealey Plaza again. It's just like, oh my Lord, the mists of time are heavy in Dallas in parts, but at least the Fair Park one was a lot more pleasant one to
Hey,
come
Ken, did you have were you able to see totality?
Yes, although the drama was high with this one. It was off and on all morning, and when totality started, the clouds moved in and you couldn't see anything for like 30 seconds. It felt like 4 hours, but after 30 seconds, they tell me it did clear and we saw the rest of totality, which was still pretty good. It was like 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, we had 4 minutes, 20 seconds, and yeah, and there were just like no cloud. There was a few little clouds off a ways, but there was some high thin schmutz, but it was the darkest one I've ever seen.
It was absolutely gorgeous. I mean, when the corona came out and you could see that, I had tears in my eyes. It was so beautiful. And I still don't understand why it impacts the viewer like that. I mean, it was.
I don't either, because this was my 8th one. And it's the first one I felt like weeping. So I don't know what it was.
I think the corona had very fine structures and waves and things coming out of it, and it was just astonishing. And it was built up by the fact that it looked like we weren't going to see it, and then all of a sudden the curtains parted. So that was part of it, was the relief. But it's kind of interesting doing it in the Cotton Bowl. You miss out on the nature noises, but it was a gorgeous place to see what's called the shadow bands. They're little alternating light and dark bands that move toward you from the direction from the sun. Just before and just after totality, and I'd never seen them before at all.
Yeah,
and
we didn't have them at all.
Having this nice
amazed.
flat field, in front of you forever, it made it easy to see.
Well,
I wish I had
jealous.
remembered, Don, that you lived near there. I would have tried to get in touch. I totally spaced out that you were in Texas.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we had a whole group of people watching the eclipse from here, so. But yeah, we're about 3 hours south of there.
Okay, so you weren't right next door.
Yeah, we were next door. But I spent a lot. I mean, I did the presentation on Fair Park. What was it, a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, on Zoom here, and so I've wandered that place probably 3 days worth of time taking pictures, and yeah, it's always empty. But if you know who to ask and where to go, you can get inside most of those buildings, and a lot of them are still in the state they were in when they did the World's Fair there in '38. It's just a moment frozen in time there. It's amazing.
Yeah, the guide said that you could actually rent spaces in a lot of the big buildings. Just they don't often do it, but you can do that. So that would be cool.
Yeah, but the thing that keeps it alive is the state fair. That's where they get most of their income. But other than that, it's just they're constantly doing fundraisers. They're actually going to rebuild some of the fair buildings out there too, some of the bigger ones. So it's
a lot. There's clearly a lot of refurbishments already gone on. Some of the mosaics, and I don't know if the statuary, but the mosaics were definitely newly done.
Oh yeah, the statues and a lot of the paintings and such. It is, like I said when I gave a presentation, if you want to feel like what it was like to be in a World's Fair back in their glory days, this is probably the most intact site I know.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it to anyone else who gets anywhere near there. It's it's not very well advertised or anything. If you're not in a group like this, you might not even have any idea about it.
All right, road trip.
Yeah, plenty of room.
I move when everybody comes to Dallas. Yeah.
But in the fall though, when it's not so hot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And before we go, I think we all need to. Isn't this the birthday of the Hubble this week, Ken?
Yeah, the 24th, just a couple days ago, was the 34th anniversary of launch.
Yeah. Felt like
we're in safe mode.
I just saw that. They're going to go to one gyro mode for indefinitely.
We've been fighting all week trying to keep it in 2 gyro mode, and we get up for 6 hours, 10 hours, and then gyro 3 goes crazy and shuts us down again. So the thing is tricky is we're coming up at the end of next week. We're going into what's called clock rollover. We've been in orbit so long that we don't have enough digits. So it's almost like hitting year 2000. We have a couple times we've had to reset the clock, you know,
Yeah.
start counting at 0 again, basically. And we're, you know, like, can we do that if we're in safe mode? And so we're going to try to come up into normal mode first, but the engineers assure us that, yeah, you'll still be able to do it, but you don't want to get caught halfway in between. You know, you want to be in normal mode and then safing as the clock rolls over. That would be bad. So,
Ken, what's its orbital altitude right now?
300
Oh, okay.
miles.
What was the initial planned lifespan of that thing?
15 years.
Wow.
So we're near
Yeah, we're doing
34
pretty
now.
good. Yeah. Well, the reason
Can't
I was
complain.
asking is because we're in solar max, and I'm wondering if in one gyro mode, are we going to see any effects from the atmosphere if it expands more?
I think we're still okay. We're up pretty well. We were lucky that we had several weak solar maxes, so we're not down as low.
Yeah.
I don't know. There were talks for a while with SpaceX to see if they were sort of thinking of maybe trying to give us a boost, but that doesn't seem to have really gone. probably better if I don't say anything else. But yeah, that's
Okay.
that was the first signs of things going bad.
Yeah.
And it's going on from there.
What's the response time?
Chandra is up in Mount Wilson, isn't it?
No, Chandra's in orbit.
Chandra's in orbit, like Hubble.
Sorry.
One of the four original great observatories, along with Gamma Ray Observatory and Surtif, such as Chandra and Hubble left out of the original four.
And it's still functioning really well, too.
Somebody was at the door again. It's Grand Central Station here today.
Yeah. I've got a question for Don or whoever about the Northeast. I've never been up there. Living in Chicago, our north escape was to northern Wisconsin. And one thing that they used to have, but it's mostly gone away, is a lot of small towns would have supper club restaurants, which I think in some cases were the largest business in town, but they would open for dinner, and one of the characteristics that I remember is they would always bring out a big rotating relish tray to your table as appetizers, and it's just kind of a atmosphere of going to Wisconsin to stop at a supper club in the evening. And I wondered if they had any restaurants like that up in the Northeast.
There aren't many left. They did exist, but the supper club is something of a dying breed. I don't know if there are, and I know there was one in Bennington at one time, and there was one in Burlington. I know it's gone, but for the most part, I don't think that was a New England phenomenon as much as it was, the Wisconsin and that part of the world.
Well, I know we were up in Maine a couple of years ago. There was a dinner theater we saw the signs for, so I don't know if that, equates to it, but I remember looking, I think I felt bad for the people that are performing if you're, trying to do it. When I talked about on this past Saturday, this venue that I did was a lunchtime thing. And if you've ever talked at a lunchtime venue, boy, that's interesting because, you're trying to talk about Walt came up with this idea and somebody else is asked, talking or whatever. But a number of years ago, I did one in New York, and it was this restaurant, which if it's a square restaurant, it's bad enough. But this one was kind of square with another room off to the side. So you're trying to walk around and get people from each place. Their projector didn't work. I had to run into a camera store, get a cable. Finally, I'm giving the talk, and I haven't had anything to eat. I'm on the wrong time zone. I've got a headache, worse than I think from hitting my head on the ground. And I'm trying to give the talk, and I said, if anybody has questions, I'll do my best to answer. Oh, yes, over in the back. The lady puts up her hand, so I call on her. Yes, can I help you? Yeah, I need more water. So I warned everybody last Saturday, if anybody asks for water, they're going to get hurt. So,
Wayne, I think I've seen more of those in Canada. You're driving around and there'll be something like that, on a side of a highway, and everybody's in there having something to eat.
Sort of a town.
I don't remember seeing it much in Vermont.
Yeah.
Yeah, there used to be one in Vermont called the Dog Team. And it was a really well-known supper club. They were only open for dinner, and they did that. They brought out the relish first, and they brought out sticky buns, and you ate your food. And unfortunately, as a matter of fact, we driving into Vermont, we passed Dog Team Road, but it burned down a long time ago, and the owner never rebuilt it. So
there are still Sunday dinners sometimes at churches occasionally, and I've seen a placard as I drove down through southern Vermont doing that.
Yeah.
But it's not a commercial thing, and it's not regular, and it's not every weekend.
Yeah.
Well, get yourself situated, and we'll all do a remote broadcast from Don's front yard.
That's it. Yeah.
Next week, I think we're going back to the 64 World's Fair, if all goes well. I've got some new videos of that on the way. I'm gonna wrap myself up in bubble wrap. So, Carol gave me this bubble wrap yesterday. She got a mug in it, but I'm all set.
Oh, it's you, Bill.
It's really me. If I go out to lunch now, I don't think Carol's going to go with me. I just saw it sitting there and I figured, what the hell? So
You're getting
I'm married.
I'll see you in 2 weeks because I'll be in Florida next week with the 35th anniversary.
Yeah, I have to try to do some of that online. I hope that all goes well. I heard they were looking for some of the people, like the lady that got all the clearances for the rights for the actors for the Great Movie Ride. They were trying to track her down to see if she could participate and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything whether they did or not, but it's quite a group that it's grown into. There's certain number of people who are already in Florida. There are some were coming from somewhere else outside of California. I mean, I think there's a couple of people coming over from Japan, if I'm not mistaken, that worked on the project and are now in Japan. So I haven't looked at the latest list, but it should be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be.
We'll take lots of pictures and give us a report when you get back.
Okay.
So, and Carol, keep digging out the snow.
Yeah, thanks. And also not falling over and hitting my nose again.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, that's two of us. So,
Bill, they had snow up in Mammoth this last couple of days also.
Yeah, it's crazy weather. I mean, luckily, like I said, we've had a lot of rain. The hills are just beautiful with green, and even out in front of our house, we were looking at flowers popping up that we said, I don't remember planting those. I don't know where they came from, but it's really beautiful out right now. So enjoying it while we can.
We've had some snow and a lot of rain here in Salt Lake too.
Are you getting this storm today?
Yeah, it's been thunder, lightning. Yep.
Yeah, that's what we had last night. Yeah.
Yep.
We're going from about 60
what's
and
coming
rain
again
today to about 87 or 90 tomorrow.
Woo.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
Wing City.
have an
Before we go,
unusually
Michelle's been
wet-
putting together a presentation and working diligently on it. So when she's ready, we'll let you know. But she's going to take us to the Disney 100 exhibit when they were there in Pennsylvania. And is that Mickey and Minnie behind you? It looks like I said I see some mouse ears on the wall.
Yeah, it's them in a kitchen with bread somewhere.
Oh, okay, great.
I don't know. I leave the plastic on everything. So
And
it's by Gerard Bermuda or whatever his name is. So it's all very cartoony, but it's supposed to be something French. But the D100 exhibit, it opened in Philadelphia, and that's what I have. It went to Kansas City, just closed there. I mean, it went to Chicago because that's Walt's birthplace. It just closed. It'll open in Kansas City in about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be very timely if anyone's going to Kansas City to look at the D100 exhibit.
Great. Well, I appreciate you doing it. Well, enjoy it. I'm going to go outside, try not to fall down, and we'll see you next week at the 64 World's Fair.
Thanks, Bill.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Don, before
Thank
you
you,
go,
Bill.
when was your talk on Fair Park? I just want to dig it out and take a look at it.
Oh gosh, about I think it was a year and a half ago. It was in November, either a year ago, last November, I think.
Okay. I'll
Yeah,
look in
sure.
November-ish.
Thanks, Bill.
For Don's talk, just go to my Zoom page and search on Lancaster, and you should see when he's given some of his talks.
Okay, very good.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
See you later. Bye bye.